Hello and welcome back. Thank you, as always, for tuning in here. What we're going to look at today are some very, very basic ideas. In fact, you could say this about all of this course. People tend to get very, very hung up on the so-called metaphysics of A Course in Miracles, on its foundational principles, on the main ideas, and we tend to think that this is somehow really, really complicated, and that there's no way in the world that we're ever going to learn it because it's too out there, too bizarre, too threatening, too bright, etc., etc. It is entirely common for people to enthusiastically approach this material. I mean, look at the title, A Course in Miracles. That draws people's interest, doesn't it? Perhaps it's drawing yours, just the very title alone. What is this all about? A Course in Miracles. Well, stick around. If you're new, stick around. Oh, and if you're a longtime student, also stick around, because as we all know on the spiritual path, and I know you know, it might be the 500th time that we hear the exact same basic idea that it really hits home, and this light comes on, the proverbial light, and we get it. And that's a beautiful thing. So maybe that happens for you today. We tend to think this course is so complicated. It is not. Truth is not complicated. We've made our experience complicated. We've made our lives complicated because we can, in the abstract, in the context of this video series or any video series about spirituality, we can resonate at the very deepest level with certain core ideas and principles and things that appear to come out of the mouth of what, in fact, is a pixelated image on your screen. And we can relate to them, and they make sense to us right here in this context. Yet, when we go do life, we forget about them and come to discover that they don't make any sense at all. This is directly related to our conditioning, through our tendency to complicate everything, to think that truth can't possibly be as simple as it is, that there must be more to it. Truth simply is, one way you could look at this is that it is all that is. You can't possibly add more to it because it's all that is. The all, capital A, if you please, is not missing anything. It has absolutely no concept of lack or bereavement or a void that needs to be filled, a deep inner yearning for something that you don't have. No, truth simply is. There's nothing that we can add to it. So when certain ideas point to truth, and they're very simple ideas in and of themselves, we do well to take them to heart. We would do very well, indeed, to let them percolate and float around in our mind and stew and fester. Let these ideas suffuse you. So, what ideas are we talking about? Well, God is. That's it. Did you want more than that? There is nothing more than that. In fact, there is nothing else. God is, period. Truth is, period. It simply is. Now, we have the need to use the symbology of language to expound upon this. So let's do that because, as we just talked about, we're apt to think we need more. So, what's implicit in the two-syllable statement, God is, matters quite a bit. What this implies is that only God is, only truth is. In other words, God is the only reality. All else is illusion, including this. This is illusion. This is illusion. I mean, this is a pixelated image on your screen. Of course, it's an illusion. It's an assemblage of electronic dots. Yet who's talking to you? That's important. It's your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit. When something lands for you, count on the fact that it's not a 52-year-old man from Arizona, which is what this assemblage of dots looks like. It's the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, this part of our mind that will teach us who and what we are. He will help us clear the obstacles that we ourselves have interposed between our vision and truth. Truth is true. It simply is. We're simply asleep, dreaming. What passes for reality is not our reality. It's not our home. If only God is, where are you? God is not separate from you. There is no separation of any kind. So all of the bumper stickers that say one love, all of the refrigerator magnets from places like Jamaica and the Bahamas and the Caribbean that say one love actually are saying a lot more than it looks like. It is not simply some ganja riddled pipe dream of peace, love, and eternal happiness and brotherhood and union. Union is fact. There is only perfect oneness. This is the perfect oneness of God. And our intellectual, rational, so called rational thinking mind tends to run amok at this point. And perhaps you've had this experience. Perhaps you're having it right now, where we think, okay, well, where do I fit in? Well, here is another very simple idea from A Course in Miracles that we'd all do very well to keep top of mind. Ideas leave not their source. Sounds innocuous enough on the surface, doesn't it? Ideas leave not their source. What does this mean? Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. We're known throughout A Course in Miracles as the thought of God. The extension of God. Like extends like. Love, God, simply extends itself, himself. There is nothing else, after all. Ideas leave not their source. Truth simply is. So when we look around and we appear to see 8 billion of this species, which we've gotten together and assigned an artificial name to, which is simply a collection of sounds. We've agreed on the meaning of Homo sapiens sapiens, after all. When we look around, every single one of us is part of truth, is part of God, is part of the all, capital A again. It's part of reality, not separate component parts, but reality itself. This is who we really are. You know this, or you would not be interested in spirituality. Something has drawn you here. And again, it makes no difference if you're studying A Course in Miracles or if you're even interested in it. This is universally applicable. Why? Because only God is. Now, you might rightly ask, why don't other spiritual and religious traditions come out and say this? There aren't very many in the history of humankind that have done this. And if you don't buy it, that's perfectly okay. There are many different spiritual traditions in the world. And here in the 21st century, we're in an extremely fortunate position, aren't we? With our modern technology, i.e., the internet, we don't have to go to a public library to look up obscure books and facts about world spirituality. We can access it right here, right now, in what we call real time. Every tradition in the world is accessible to you. So there are many doors. They all lead to the same place, God, in the end. And it does not make any difference if you believe in God or not. Doesn't matter. Belief in this course is not required to embark upon its study. It's not at all. You could actively resist some of these ideas. You could be resisting what's coming out of the pixelated image's supposed mouth and vocal cords right now. You know, this resistance is quite normal on the path. We think we're separate from our brother and from God, and the separation never occurred. We're invited to accept what A Course in Miracles refers to as atonement for ourselves. This involves our acknowledgement, our simple acknowledgement that the separation never occurred. You're not separate from God. Where are you? Who are you? What are you? Spoiler alert, it's not this. This is fallible, clearly. It's subject to disease, dismemberment, and decay. All too soon in a lot of cases. The Son of God is not finite. The Son of God is the extension of God himself, which is eternal. These ideas seem very, very easy to grasp in the abstract. It's when we go forth and attempt to put them into practice that we encounter our marked tendency to complicate life. So we become afraid of truth, as unflattering as that may sound. The reason why we're still having this conversation is we've all been afraid to awaken. We've interposed a thick barrier between ourselves and truth, thinking that behind our wall, behind this veil underneath it, that we're going to be safe from reality. You don't have to be saved from reality. It's love. But here, while we're afraid of it, we need help because we appear to be Homo sapiens sapiens. After you're done watching this, you may have a slew of emails to go through. You may have a couple of bills to pay. Life comes at us and it feels solid and concrete and frustratingly real. That's putting it mildly sometimes, isn't it? So, what do we do? Well, we need some assistance. That's why this video series exists. That's why all spiritual teachings exist. As you study and practice A Course in Miracles, you're invited to cultivate your relationship with the Holy Spirit, who is not outside you. There is nothing outside you. Only God is. The Holy Spirit's part of our mind, that part of our mind that will show us, that will teach us and guide us if only we let it. What do? We bring our darkness to the light. The Holy Spirit, He is the light. Jesus is the light. You may call the Holy Spirit whatever you want, by the way, your guide or guides, your high council, your team, if you want, or call it Elvis. It makes no difference. Those are all just artificial collections of sound. A name is only a label, after all. It's not the thing it represents, and the thing that it represents is not what it appears to be either. There is only perfect oneness. The all. Your brother is the all. You are the all. It's all. So when we ask for help and assistance from our guide, what we bring is our willingness to bring our darkness to the light. The light shines it away. But the light doesn't force itself into all of our dark corners. We've got to willingly and voluntarily bring our darkness to light. Give it over to your inner teacher. A practical example of this is the well-known idea from this course that our forgiveness is either total or it's not at all. In other words, we must bring it all to light. We can't love 99% of the living things here on Spinning Ball of Rock and reserve a special form of disdain and hatred for that last 1%, for a political party that we don't like, for our boss, I don't know, our former boss, our ex, maybe a historical dictator or a current dictator. I don't know. Forgiveness is either total or it's not at all. We bring all of our darkness to light. What happens? The light shines it away. We learn to see things as they are. We would, in the abstract, readily accept that things are not as they seem. That's what has us on the spiritual path to begin with. Deep down, we know that this isn't the Son of God. And whether we accept that or not is, well, it's entirely up to you in the present moment. So, what we do here is quite simply we ask to be taught, and the Holy Spirit will teach us. Show me, show me. and bring all of your stuff to light. Forgive the Son of God. Forgive yourself. You are your brother, after all. All right. So these ideas go deep. You deserve nothing less than that. So, welcome. If you have not subscribed and joined us here on this channel, please do. Please do. If there's something that has interested you about this material and the very fact that you've watched up here until what's nearly the end of this video means that something has landed for you. These videos appear several times a week, and they're about A Course in Miracles, what it says, what it means, and how you can take these concepts that appear so convoluted and simplify them, return to the simplicity. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do. That's the prompt in the corner of your screen. Click that. I'd love to have you join us. Questions are also more than welcome because this is, in fact, a process of deep self inquiry. What is spirituality but that, indeed? So, questions are more than welcome. I will see them here on the comment thread and respond to them. Okay. Thank you, as always, for joining me here today. And thank you especially, above all else, for your dedication and commitment to your spiritual practice, whatever that looks like, whether that involves this course or not. This is the highest and best offering that you could ever give anyone anywhere. So if you want some more inspiration, subscribe, tune back in the next day and the next day and the next day because several videos appear each week. All right. Thank you.